with a higher self now, please.
Yes.
Can you do a grounding and protecting of Crystal before we start?
Yes, thank you for asking. She's grounded and protected, and so is everyone else in this room. We've taken a hold of each and every person's feet and pulled them, pulled the energy deep down, down, down into the core of Mother Earth, where you will all be grounded for this session. We want to speak about the last session and why there was so much energy and how energy is always around you and always flowing, and why it was flowing at such a pace. And you mentioned it, Sarah, and so did your subject, about how this group has an abundance of gifts and their third eyes are incredibly open. And when that happens and there is so much flow of energy and so much excitement, without grounding, that energy can flow at such a frenetic pace that it can cause people to almost feel unwell. So, grounding is incredibly important for all of you to do almost every day because you are all so open. And although your energy is flowing well and helping the earth and helping others, you need to be careful to ensure that you're protecting yourself and ensuring the protection of your energy fields. Now, when you call energy forth from source, it comes to the top of your crown often and comes rippling through your body. And sometimes that energy can be overwhelming if your body hasn't been able to acclimate quickly enough to that energy. So ask your body to not take on more than it can. And one way to do that is through grounding. And so the session should be a little bit more palatable and easy on everyone's body this time. And there are two other things. And my friend back there is already saying two, two, and we're like, we heard the joke last time. So he's there, he's humorous. We all heard it last time, but we want to mention two things. One is when we were getting a little bit heated and talking about the filtration of water and said just throw a bunch of crystals into a colander and run the water through. We need to clarify. You cannot run water through any crystal because not all crystals should be in touch with water if you're going to ingest that water because they are soluble in water, and that can actually be harmful. So you only want to use certain types of crystals. Rose quartz, clear quartz, amethyst, those are all safe quartz. Smoky quartz to put in the colander if you are going to do that technique. You can use any other crystal to help you filtrate your water, but it shouldn't go in the water directly. What you would want to do in that case is place the crystals around your water, and that is a safe way to filtrate that water. So that is an incredibly important thing to clarify. And we don't really apologize per se because everything is happening for a reason, but want to more explain why we were getting a little testy about the way some of the questions were being asked. And we understand how everyone in this room has a specific twist on a question. But there were so many questions coming through about water filtration, and I know that we were getting a little bit heated. And I think we just want to clarify why that was, which is that we know that there's so much information to be shared and so much information that you want to have us shared, that when the answer is going to be the same from us over and over and over, it doesn't matter if you ask the question 100 different ways. If we're going to give you the same answer, we're just going to ask that you move on from that question. And it's not a disrespect to the way that the question's being asked or the information that you want to know. We're just simply telling you in that moment the answer is not going to be any different.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Can you tell me what has happened to the participants in this workshop during this weekend? What sort of activations or what exactly has been happening to them?
Well, you can see by your subject's face, it's so much love and light and joy has been spread here this weekend. And I think one of the most important things that we want to share is that you have all in this space seen yourself through the eyes of people who truly see you, who understand you, and who radiate love back towards you. So everyone in this room, you're all such givers. You're givers of your gifts and you're givers of your energy and your knowledge and your love and joy and all of these wonderful things. But sometimes that's not always pushed back in your direction. You give and give and give. And as givers and healers and sharers in the way that you do need to rejuvenate. And a way to do that is to be around like minded people. And we want to say, take this energy away and remind yourselves to see yourselves through the eyes of the people in this room and how they have seen you this weekend, because it is such a deep reflection of who each and every one of you are. And if you ever look at someone else who isn't understanding you or seeing you for who you truly are, think back to somebody's eyes in this room and how they all saw you, because that is really an indication of the soul and the light that you radiate clearly. And that is what you want to remember. And you want to remember how important that is to give that gift of yourself, that self love, and that indication that you are seen, that you have other soul groups on this planet that have an understanding of the knowledge and the energy that you're working with, that you are never alone, that you're not weird, that you're not going through this experience and are outcast in any way. Be reminded, as you often are, again, you are very advanced souls and have quite a deep understanding of this work, but remind yourself over and over and over again that there is going to be a time in this ascension where the weird people are the ones that just aren't getting it. And you're still a little bit ahead of the curve, but eventually people are going to be catching up, and you're going to see more of that reflection and understanding and knowing when you look into the eyes of people just in the general public. But for now, this is an incredible group, and you have activated that reminder that you are connected, that almost just by looking in eyes without having to say a word, you can see a shared understanding, a shared amount of love and joy. And your subject under hypnosis here has said multiple times, imagine if we all woke up in our homes every day with each other and it was like, you look so cute. You're so beautiful. I love what you're wearing. Oh my gosh, your gift is so amazing. Imagine if that was what we did for each other every day in the world. Oftentimes we get up, we look at our phone, we don't even acknowledge the people in our homes. We go about our day without even giving these simple compliments and reminders, which really are what our soul is craving to hear. And you all did that for each other this weekend. You activated that it's just such a simple thing that you can do to really see someone and be seen.
Beautiful. How did us being here affect the land and the surroundings of this area?
The land is always vibrating here, but it is vibrating so much. So if you think again about the experience you had yesterday, when Crystal was doing her Reiki and her hands were bouncing off heads, that actually wasn't just to do with your third eyes being open this room. It was actually the energy of this land coming up through her feet and coming out through her hands onto all of you while she was laying her hands. And all of you are so open. So she was close because your third eyes are open and your energy was pushing on her hands too, but it was actually coming up through the earth because the earth is just so incredibly excited about everything that's going on here that it was wanting to deeply connect that way too through the third eye. And it could do that by coming up through her feet and coming out through her hand. And it was causing such an abundance of energy that the vibration of the earth was causing her hands to shake. And that again is just a replication or an indication of how excited the land is that you have all been here. And it is like, this is now me speaking. This is Crystal. I can tell I'm coming through, so I'm going to tell you all. What they're showing me is that it's almost just like a group of cheerleaders. They're just like, yay, and like, thank you. And it's almost like they have their little pom poms. They're like, you are finally putting Arkansas on the map. They're showing me like a tack and that we have like made the tack head and we're tacking it in and we're saying, this is a hot spot. And I'm getting goosebumps right now. So it has opened up what they had hoped to have opened up when this workshop was developed. And when we came here, it was everything that we talked about the other day, how people have looked at Arkansas in a certain light. And they're saying light is a key word here because it is full of light, but it needs people that are of the light to come here and allow that light to shine. And by us being here this weekend, the process has begun.
Well, thanks. Did the Atlanteans harvest crystals from Arkansas?
Oh, they're like, oh, yes, they did.
Can you tell me about that?
Yes, they harvest them, and they're saying it's important to know that they actually left some here. So the Atlanteans are, as we are all aware, were incredibly advanced civilization and used crystals to their benefit and for the benefit of that civilization. But they recognize the specialness of Arkansas. And unlike what we see happening in our current world, where we deplete systems completely, when Atlanteans started, they weren't always of that mindset. And so the early Atlanteans that found the crystals here really worked a lot like the Native Americans did, where there was an understanding of the exchange between Mother Earth and respectfully removing things and not to overtake and over deplete. And so they did remove crystals from here for their use, but didn't overdo it. And they left so much here, and they did that because they know that that was what was creating the specialness of the land. And if they took that all, it's almost like soil that has been overused and depleted of minerals. They knew if they did that here, that the magic of this land would go. So they took the magic, and they knew that they could take the crystals and use and build and build and build off the energy that was in them, that they didn't have to take all of the crystals to get that magical power. And they're saying that's a really good lesson for where we are in our current environment, is that it's not all about quantity. It's like that is the mindset of our civilization. The more I have, the better I am. The more I have, the more advanced I can be. It's not that. You just sometimes need the smallest crumb, and you can work with that tiny crystal to bring about all of the energy and ascension that you need. And they were aware of that. So there's still so much here that can be utilized and has been left for the benefit of future civilizations. But they're really saying we're heading down to that point where once the light starts to shine anywhere, the darkness whoosh, swooshes in and wants to shut it down. And so, as the light brightens in Arkansas, that darkness is going to come in. And one of the first things they're going to want to do is overmine this area and remove as much of the crystalline energy as they can. So it's going to be a battle, but what you need to know is that you can remind people of what you've just heard, that they only need the smallest amount of crystal to spread an immense amount of light. So again, these companies can take all of the minerals they want, but you can start remineralizing Arkansas by telling people how to utilize the energy.
Okay, and is there anything else about utilizing the energy that we should know?
They're saying again, don't forget how much water can amplify things. So it is such a conductive energy source. So by taking your water or taking your crystals and putting them in water, so even when you go, they're showing me if you even go in this lake and take like a little, my goodness, like this. This is what Lisa gave the subject today. If you had like a little sack like this and put a bag of crystals in it, you want a Ziploc bag because you want the crystals to be able to touch the water. Even something as simple as that, put your intention and energy into the crystals, tell them what it is that you want to receive. Take your little baggie of crystals and take it in the water with you, get in the water, and all of those intentions you set will be amplified and manifest more quickly by using the water as a conductive source.
Wow, thanks. Do our pyramids connect to pyramids on other planets?
Send. There's so much connection. It is something to do, not something, it is very much a divine source energy symbol. And so you may be well aware of even between the masculine and feminine, the pyramid type shape there, there's a deep connection there. And the pyramid is represented in nature over and over and over again. It is a god-like symbol that came directly from Source, and Source being the creator of all the entire universe, all of the energy. That imprint is across the galaxies. It is infinite in our solar system. It is infinite in all of the universe. And that is a joining point. And they're showing point on top of the pyramids, point, 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 that radiates out from each of those points and connects you all to each other. So again, they're showing that we all think we're so separate from one another, but we are actually all completely enveloped and connected throughout this infinite, which is hard for our minds to process, galaxy and universal system.
It looked like when you did those symbols that the masculine was above and the feminine was below, or is that what it is? Or is there anything else about that that you could say?
They're showing me that the feminine is like this.
Like below, below. pyramid?
They're saying that's what they want you to believe because they always the masculine
Mhm.
should always be above. That's not the case. Actually, what it's supposed to be is that the masculine is below like this and the feminine is like this. And they're showing me the reproductive system and how the fallopian tubes are here and that it forms like a triangle this way. Is that yeah,
Oh,
triangle, and
okay.
it's the feminine that's above and the masculine that's below, and it's very much the female energy that is not in control, but the one that guides the masculine energy, and that's why she is above the female triangle, and they have reversed it in history over and over again because again, they want to have the female below and the male energy dominating, but that actually isn't where it is. And again, it's not one is better than the other. It's that oftentimes the masculine will take the cue of the feminine energy, not being led, but being guided. And they are such a dualistic, symbiotic type of energy, but it really is the feminine energy that sort of sets the tone, the pace, and is the best guider of like where this energy should flow. So it's just been rewritten.
Okay, the pyramids that are in Egypt, who built those pyramids?
There are many people that built pyramids in Egypt. So it's not like, oh, just one civilization came through and that was the end of the pyramids. Those pyramids go back and back and back and back from multiple civilizations, just like you were finding in other places in Earth. Are uncovering hidden cities below ground. It's the same idea in Egypt. There is a pyramid that you're seeing, and there's pyramids below ground that haven't even been discovered yet. So it has been multiple, multiple civilizations, multiple extraterrestrials that have come down and either built them or assisted in building them. So we can't just hone in on one specific culture or one subset of a certain group or area. It has been an evolution over time of multiple, multiple players.
Well, could you just tell me about one of them? Like, what did they look like and why did they build it? And how, I mean, obviously sounds like it's symbolic, the shape of the above triangle and the below triangle. So did they all share this knowledge? Were they like, hey, let's do this? I mean, how does this come about? How did it come about?
So that is exactly right. It is as above as below. And most of them have that dual property. Now, it's just like what you were speaking about in the ride to the grocery store with Crystal today and speaking about speaking about how some people are learning certain subjects and only being given half information. There were some people who were told, this is how the pyramids were built. And they're like, oh, I have it all. I understand it. But they didn't have all the information. And there's a reason for that. One, they were greedy and they didn't want to take the time to actually learn. And learning took energy because those pyramids aren't just built with physical labor, they were built with mental labor. They were built with assistance of star people, with intergalactic beings, and that takes mental energy to connect with them. And they were lazy and greedy, and they wanted to say almost like, look at what I built and how amazing I am. And so they took partial information. So if you ever go to a pyramid and there's nothing below it, it's just the pyramid that's sitting on the ground. That is one of those individuals. They're showing it's like a building now that's made versus a building 400 years ago with the beautiful stone structures that will never, fall apart versus a wooden structure now that some construction crew that could care less throws it together and it dilapidates in a day. There are pyramids there like that were built out of greed or ego, but the ones you want to look for always have something underneath, whether it's the chambers, whether it's a hidden artifact, whether it's, a full pyramid under or to replicate the one that's larger up above. So that's something to watch for.
Right, but it seems like there was a shared teaching of some sort to build the pyramids that are, as above, so below in a certain way, and they're all over the world. How did this shared teaching come about? Who taught this? Like, why are the pyramids built like this? Like, there must have been someone that said, okay, here's how the pyramid should be.
So the true essence and knowledge that came through was directly from source. And they're showing again how often the same invention in the world can be given to 10 different people in different parts of the earth. And so oftentimes someone will say, Well, I came up with that idea, and you must have somehow found out about that because you copied me. And like, how did you even find out about that? And so on and so on. And it's not, there was no copying. It's that source implanted that knowledge in several different people in several different locations because they know that some people will choose to do nothing with that information. Some people will run with that information. And that's what they did with the pyramids. That's where it really originated from. It was from source energy and guides on the other side saying, this is a way to connect more deeply with us. This is a way they obviously can see timelines way, way ahead. And they knew that down the road that we would need to have an access point to be able to delve deep into this knowledge and all be activated and aware of it again. So, how can we set this up so people can have this knowledge and come across this knowledge again in the future? And they planted the seed in several different people, and a few of them ran with it. And then those few that ran with it were able to pass that along to future generations. And oftentimes, like we still cultures who have a very oral history where they pass stories down, that's where a lot of the knowledge continued to exist and was known of. And so they shared those stories, they shared those understandings. Some of it went underground for quite a long time because they knew if they were sharing how those pyramids actually got built and the characteristics behind them, that they would be wiped out, that they would be completely killed so that that oral history and that sharing of that transition traditions could not continue, but that is really how it began and how it's still going today. There are still lineages of those individuals who had that initial source information that have offspring still alive today that are protectors of that information. And it's coming forward again so that you even know in this room that so above, so below exists just shows that the time is ready and that it is coming out and it's going to continually expand and more knowledge about it will continue to be forthcoming.
Okay, and before I get into the other questions then, so they were built as access points for information, then how do you use them?
They're built as access points for your ascension, for your activation, but also for a connection to the star people, for a connection to source, because of the way that the energy is balanced between the so above, so below. You can feel the point going down deep, deep, deep into Earth's crust and connecting there. And then the top point goes up, up, up into space and connects there. But it also twists on itself. So it really comes out like this, like a circle, and like this, like a circle. So you're basically, these pyramids have a spherical energy all around them. So that's a really important thing to think of because you see often the energy shooting up from the top of the pyramid, and it does, but then it bends and comes around and it goes in a circular formation. And they're showing that that again has to do with source and the idea of oneness, how nothing is separate from one another, and there's that complete joining of energy. Did we answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to get into the other questions. Are there any other locations in the US hidden with healing properties like Arkansas, like any in Indiana?
They're saying there are magical properties everywhere, but they want me to go to another state with an I, and they're taking me to Idaho. So Indiana, yes, but they're saying let's just pause on Indiana right now because more energy that needs to come forth first actually exists in Idaho. And they're saying Idaho is similar to Arkansas in the reputation that it's been given, that there's a lot of the view of hillbilly, etc. in Idaho. Potato farmers is something they're telling me. I don't know if that's a thing, but they're saying again, it's been repressed and that there are very much like Arkansas, these beautiful, beautiful lakes there. And there are incredible, incredible portals, vortexes. It doesn't have as much of the crystalline energy, but it has a lot of other beautiful energy there. And it says it's deserving of recognition too. And that is the place that they would next like to put on the
Hmm.
map. So Indiana does have gifts, but they really want to focus in on Idaho today.
Okay, what specific gifts does Indiana have?
Okay, I'm just gonna say what they're saying. So they're saying like they're showing me an image of a bicycle, and then they're like, no, a tricycle, and it's like a three. So they're okay. So that's what it is. So they're linking it back to the pyramid. So there is a point somewhere in Indiana that has a very, very much like a pyramid connection points. So if we look at a map after this, I might be able to find them. And it's here, here, here. And if you stand in the middle of those points in Indiana, that has a ton of pyramid like energy there. And if you go to that place, you're going to be able to activate your gifts more easily. You're going to be able to connect to source more easily, like we just said, and just feel an amplification again of your abilities there, of your desire to manifest will be more free there. That three pointed space, a pyramid with a central point. And I'm going to have to look at a map after and see if I can figure that out.
Get a name of where this is?
Is there something in Indiana called like a tri city or tri something that keeps coming, like something to do with three?
Okay, we'll check. Thank you. What is the best way to communicate with trees? Can we help them wake up?
Oh, they're like, "Please, please help us." They've been put to sleep, they've been put to slumber. Essentially, they're saying it's because you wanted us to be asleep because they connected so deeply with humans at one time. It was like a shared understanding. And again, that word of symbiosis, it was like a symbiotic relationship, and they shared energy with us, and that's how they stayed awake in a way because it's like the idea of what we already talked about in this group. You almost go into a slumber when you're around people that don't understand you, that don't see you, and just you all being in this room and seeing each other and communicating in that way has awakened something in you. And they're saying, please see us again. Like some of us are starting to awaken again, and our little twigs and our little branches and our little leaves are trying to wave at you and you're not seeing us. You're like, "Oh, yeah, there's like wind in the trees." It's literally us like waving at you. And some of our other trees are completely still dormant and asleep. But the more that you see us and the more that you recognize that we are living, breathing creatures that have so much to offer you and that we know you can offer us, we are going to start awakening again and that we can help balance you as the world starts to shift into this state that's coming of scarcity and food and resources become less and less. We can help to feed you. And so it's an energetic food source. So you can come and I know that you get flack in your culture by saying you're a tree hugger, but you can put your arms around us and you might not be able to see our branches coming and hugging you back, but we are literally energetically hugging you back and we are sharing our energy with you. And when that energy gets awakened, underneath the ground, all of our root systems are connected to one another. And we are already trying to wake up these other trees and remind them of their history. But it's almost like you have the magic wand or the secret like fairy dust powder that can help us do that. So we feel that energy and it really revitalizes us and we can help spread that energy through our root system and wake up more trees. And the more that we awaken, the more energy that we can off gas into your planet and help heal the planet and also help heal you. Now, of course, the people in power would not want you to know that. They want you to cut us down. They don't want us to exist because, again, if we aren't here, it keeps your planet sicker. It keeps you sicker. But we want to grow. We are a living being too. We don't want to be cut down because we are here to support you. And we are also here to support Mother Earth. So, by you recognizing the value that we have and helping to awaken and protect us, we can also give that energy back to you.
Thank you. And Elaine has been told that she has an extra heartbeat. It beats double time. What is that about? And how can she resolve this?
So it's not something to be afraid of. It's actually a rhythm that many energy workers have. And you think that your heart is going into palpitations or that you have a rhythm that is off cycle that you need to be concerned about. Now, if you got hooked up to an electrocardiogram, it may catch it and show that there is this extra beat. And they may say that that's something to worry about, but it actually isn't. This extra beat is an indication that you are more charged electrically, that you are connecting more with the energy of the universe and with the energy of your soul. And you are given this extra beat as, like, hey, beep, beep, I'm just reminding you that you are awakening, that you have this gift. And so any of you in this room, because Delane is not the only one that actually experienced it. There's several of you in this room. When that happens, it's a reminder to one, be reminded that you have these gifts because some of you do go home and you get back into the daily grind and forget. And it's like, beep, beep, it just wants you to be reminded, or you are coming into connection with someone who has a similar gift as you. And so it's like a little beacon, like a little antenna saying, I see you, and you're connecting that way. Or you have almost been connecting too much that day, and it's a reminder for you to take rest. And it's something that you know within yourself what it is and why it's beating that way. You just have to quiet your mind and intuitively dial in, but it's not a bad thing. It's actually a really good reminder and indicator of connection points and the great work that you're doing.
Can you give some insight as to what is next for Delane?
So Delane, the subject, knows that she's planning to move to Kauai, but we are sorry to say we actually don't see that happening right away. And the reason for that is because there's still some work that Delane needs to do as far as spreading her magical energy around the area that she's also in. So Delane is in a very spiritual, beautiful area too, but much of that area has been almost enveloped in like a heavy, dense fog. And her energy needs to stay there just a little bit longer to start dissipating that fog. And one of the ways that she can help do that is actually linking back to the trees. So, around the area in the outskirts of where she lives, there are really beautiful tree systems. And by having her go out there and connect with the trees and helping awaken them, they can use their off gassing, their oxygen levels to start lifting that heavy fog that's settled over the Seattle area. And then she can move to Kauai, where it's lighter and brighter already, but will also be like, hey, thanks for coming home. We're happy you're here. But she just needs to do a little bit more work in that area before she goes.
Why do so many people involved in this work want to move to Hawaii?
Because it's so open already. The land there is like very, very energetically attuned and aware of those of you that have energetically attuned energy and those that might not be aware, but whose energy aligns with her energy. And so when you go there and you have that alignment, you feel like you're coming home and you are. Thing to recognize is this entire planet is coming home. It was made by source. And the thing is that some of the energy has just been repressed, has been cloaked more in darkness. And so it needs to be lifted. But when you go to Hawaii, that energy isn't as dense there. Doesn't have that level of darkness. It's been able to retain some of the lightness that other parts of the world haven't. And so the feeling that you're home is just a lot more easy to recognize when you go to Hawaii versus other parts of the world that have work to do to bring that a level of alignment back that you can find that harmony with.
Why does Hawaii have more of that lightness?
So part of it is just the geographical location. It is separated in a sense from much of the world. You really do have to travel to get there. You can't just step over a borderline and be there. It has a lot of water energy around it, which has been able to wash away or keep away a lot of that darkness. Now, it's not to say that Hawaii hasn't had its fair share of tragic events because it has. But again, that water has been able to wash away and clear a lot of that energy away. And the sacredness that was there from the dawn of time has stood firm in the volcanic rocks that have not washed away and has been able to really anchor that energy there. Whereas in other areas of the world where you don't have that water necessarily surrounding the whole area because you're connected through landmass versus a break in with water channels, not your, but the darkness is able to spread almost like this quick fog. Whereas in Hawaii, there's a break because of the water.
Hey, are the arcs all active? And what does this mean?
So they're saying that arc energy is naturally very active, but that there can be a break in anything and that there can be a break in arc energy. And so they are showing that the arc itself never breaks, but the flow of the energy on the arc can. And it's very much like the theme that seems to be coming forth already. It's about repair and repairing that the channel for it to be able to flow again more freely, and that arc energy is beginning in parts where it has fractured to flow more easily as more energy is able to push through and repair those breaks. And the more people that are awakened and sharing their energy, you give off like electrical impulses, and now those electrical impulses can radiate up through the arcs and break those or and allow the arc energy to flow again the way that it should be.
Okay, and some people wonder if there are arcs like kind of like Noah's Ark, like ships underneath the ground and like above that are in preparation just in case they have to take people off planet. Is this true or not true?
Well, we're so glad you asked because we showed the subject Noah's Ark, and she's like, obviously, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it does. Yes. So we're glad you asked that question. Yes, exactly like Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark, people wonder often, well, how could the ship with all of these animals, two by two by two, like everything put on this ark, how could it even travel through the water and not collapse and go through all of these storms? It had arc energy, and when we speak of arc energy, it's not something that's buried. It's something that can be, again, brought forth very quickly by coalescing like minded people. And it's very much like the building of the pyramids. Again, that wasn't just done by physical labor, it was done by energetic alignment and energy attunement. And so you don't need to have arcs hiding beneath anything. You can quickly put an arc ship together just by bringing the materials in a mind's eye to where you need them and having a group of like-minded people build that ship.
Is this something we may need to take? Like, is there preparation just in case we need to leave the planet?
So what I'm being shown right now is like a storybook picture where there's like a ship floating in the starry night sky, and that ship is carrying people to another planet. And they're showing me that it's more of a symbolism, that there's not going to be an arc ship, like not a wooden ship, but there's going to be spacecraft that can take people to other planets. But what they're showing is likely more to happen on Earth for people that don't have the means like Elon Musk, etc., is that you're going to be scrambling, as we mentioned the other day, to higher elevated places on the earth to be more protected from floods, tornadoes, etc. So that if you are worried or concerned, and they're showing again that there's not a need to start running away to anywhere right now, but if you want to really plan for future generations, that they're showing me being up in a mountainous area would be the safest place to be because you are elevated enough to protect you from some of the things that are going to happen lower on the earth, like the tsunamis, like the collapsing of some land masses into the ocean, and that the resources up on the mountains will be able to provide you with the nourishment that you need.
Okay, when is the most probable time for that happening, for this kind of destruction?
They're not gonna show me a time. They're very, like, they I could tell the other day when we did this, they're like, "We're not sharing a time because this isn't likely to happen all at once," but they're also clearly saying, "But it could." And the "but it could" is when they have to step in and do something because we as humans have gone overboard, just like they've done in other time periods in Atlantis, and they are not going to just wipe out Florida, they are gonna wipe out everything. And so when that destruction comes, it will be for that reason. But they're saying we don't want to go there because we are doing everything in our power to prevent the need for that happening again. So, as Earth does, just like we talked about the other day with the fire in Lahaina in Hawaii, we recognize that Earth almost she needs to like shake it off, just like you guys did this morning. It's like shake off the old energy, like wake up. She's stretching and she's growing and she's moving her energy. And part of that is to sort of shake off some of the residual garbage that humans have put on her and have, again, in certain areas completely depleted. So she's going to move and she's going to shake because she needs to shed that off to bring up some of the good stuff that's underneath. But that's not going to mean that there's like a huge collapse of the entire planet all at once. She's going to stretch her toe and then her finger. It's going to be a gradual moving. And it's not going to be something that happens all at once.
If we have disclosure, whereas if extraterrestrials arrive here right now, who would they be? What would they look like? Do we know those are benevolent or not?
We actually showed the subject this the other day. You had done one of your hypnosis and we showed her one of our salves in her brain, and it was the typical what you think. Yes, we have big heads. Yes, some of us have big eyes and we know that it scares you. So what we showed her that we've been doing is we actually put on one of those masks that you would wear at like a masquerade party. And again, it was symbolism to show her that we recognize how fearful humans still are of us. So we're here. We're here right now. And all we've done is put like a mask on our head that makes us look humanoid. And we are amongst you all the time, every day. We're even in groups in high political spheres and places. And they are unaware that we are there, but we are just spreading our energy. We are keeping an eye on them because, again, we're watching. We're like, what are you doing that may create a need for us to step in? And you're all aware of free will, but we have a limit to that. We do have a place where we will step in if there's going to be a ripple effect that creates tension or demise or chaos out to the entire universe. So, to answer your question, we're here and what do we look like? Right now, we look just like you. But if we peel that mask off, there's variations of what we look like. The one that's speaking to you through your subject right now, I have a head like this. I have a head that is very broad. I have a huge forehead and I do come down into a little chin. And I do have really big eyes that you would refer to as bug eyes. That is what I look like. I think I look beautiful. And I think there's going to be a time where you also think I look beautiful, but it's getting the fear virus out of you and recognizing again the beauty in differences. And you're still working on that amongst yourselves. You look at each other and, oh, she's fat or he's too skinny or it's such an easy thing to judge based on appearance. But what we are trying to have you learn again is what you've all done this weekend, to see through the eyes into the soul. And that is where you want to view. And so, as that energy continues to shift and you do have a better understanding of that, we will show ourselves because there will be an understanding of, oh, this individual isn't just what I see on the outside. There's more to them and it's inside. So, we are making appearances. We will likely make appearances to groups like this who have an understanding and a less level of fear. But just so you know, we do still take people and we do scare them because some people need that trigger. Almost like we were talking about the other day. We were with you. We were with you when you were talking about the ayahuasca and how some people need that in order to have a breakthrough. Some people need to have us in the form that terrifies them to awaken them to us. So we will reveal ourselves in the way that's best suited for certain individuals, but you will start to see us.
And the being speaking through the subject, do you have a type of name? Like what type of would you call yourself an extraterrestrial? And also, I would like to know if you are here right now, can you make yourself obviously known to us? Like, can you show yourself to us?
We showed ourselves. I'm not just here alone. I am speaking right now, but there's a group of us that were here and we did show ourselves to you the other night. You were outside, you were looking at the stars. We were there and we flashed across the sky and it was quick, but we were saying, yeah, we are here. Here we are. And actually, we've been with you all weekend. So while you've been doing all of this work, we have been watching you from the skies. We've been coming down low. We have been coming in the house at night. We have been seeing you. We've been feeling your energy because your energy called to us because it's an energy that we understand. And so it automatically drew us to you. So we have been here with you the whole entire time.
Heard the radio last night. What was that all about? Like it was noise.
It wasn't the radio, it was communication from our ship that's outside, and they overheard that.
Well, can you show yourself to us? And also, what type of extraterrestrials are you?
Well, we don't really like that term because we don't feel like we're extraterrestrial. Like, you all on Earth are so funny because you think that, like, anything that's not like you is like a foreign body or like, but we have this like knowingness that we are all one. So we don't like that concept of separation. So you can call us whatever you want, but we don't prescribe to that same way of thinking. We feel that we are of you. We all came from the same creator. And so we just look different, but our souls are the same. And so call us what you like, ascribe a name to us that you want. But as far as seeing us, you could go out tonight and look up in the sky, and we would be happy to show ourselves to you again.
Okay, and just out of curiosity, why could you not show yourselves to us now?
I'm gonna tell you what they're doing right now. Okay, so he's like looking back at me, but he just turned around and they're all having this little conversation like, well, could we? Should we? Should we? No, no, no. Yes. Well, why not? And they're literally having this conversation. Okay, I'm gonna get back out because he wants to come back through. So
Okay.
he's saying, okay, I've talked to the group of elders and the council on our ship, and they said it's not time yet. We need to do things in stages, and that we have a timeline that we're ascribing to or staying or holding true to, and what we think is the most logical next step. And he's like, not all of us. He's like, but we don't all make individual decisions on the ship and just like jump out and say, I'm going to do something separate. We really do work as a collective, and we've just had a discussion, and the consensus is that what we think would be the most logical next step is to show ourselves to you in the skies, because not everyone had the opportunity to see that the other day, and we think that makes the most sense first before we would show ourselves to you fully.
Okay. If, humanity usually gives terms and labels to different extraterrestrials, what type of label would they give you most likely?
It's like, okay, what? It's like, well, there's a few. They've given so many. It's like, which one should we pick?
What do they like type of extraterrestrial would humanity usually give them? Like, because there's many different types.
There are many different types, but he's like, okay, I know, I get the point. He's like, but we're not. He's like, we're all the same. So let's just say it.
Okay.
Okay, we get it. We get it. I'm
Get
like,
it.
we all get it,
Fine.
right? Yes. Okay, we're all the same. But if you want to say what we look like, he said we would be more from the Palladian
Okay.
area.
Thank you.
Okay.
I rest my case. Thank you very okay. How many lives has Maria lived here on Earth?
For this, there's a song that has been running through the subject's head since we started, and it's a Garth. Nope, that's wrong. It is a song. It's a country song. Oh, they just tried to tell me the name. It's Brooks and Dunn, I think, and it's My Maria song, and they've been playing that in my head. They've been playing that since I went down, and they said, "Oh, my Maria, because you have been part of this earth for so long and have had so many incarnations." And that it's not by chance that in this lifetime your name is Maria, because you have a connection to Mary back in biblical times. And so they're saying, but by the way, that was not your first incarnation, that you had lifetimes well before that too. We're talking about when like the ice age existed. They're showing me like woolly mammoths. You had lifetimes all the way back to then. But when Christ came and Mother Mary and all of that energy was occurring, you weren't Mary, you weren't a Mary, you were a part of Mary's circle. And so the fact that you have Maria in this lifetime, again, sorry, there's like, stop. She wasn't Maria in that lifetime, but that you have the name Maria as a connection to that lifetime, and how you're bringing forth that energy of your circle that existed then, because the world is ready to have Christ like energy be expressed in its true form. Again, it has been so tainted, it has been manipulated, it has been broken apart to appease certain individuals, certain political agendas. And you are here to break through that and bring the energy through that existed from that lifetime and that time period. And how to do that, all you need to do is exist, because it is in your being, it is in your soul. And just by leaving that imprint on the world, you're awakening that energy to allow those pathways to come through and come forth again.
What is in her soul and what did she do during the time of Mary? Or who was she?
What do you mean, what's in her soul? Love and joy and hope and compassion and all of those beautiful, wonderful things that are in each and everyone's
Well,
soul.
how does she connect with Mary specifically? Why did she have the name of Maria? Like, what exactly is this energy that she contains?
So she was a very close confidant and friend of Mother Mary back in the day. So her name was not Maria back in the day, but she was of Mary, like Mary. She was, sometimes people would almost think that they were sisters because they would walk in tandem. They could communicate with the knowing glances by a look in the eye. There was, again, like the people in this room, a shared understanding that they didn't have to say, "Hey, do you get what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to like break through and knock on your door. Do you like hear this information?" They knew the information, they shared it, and they were able to almost offer protection to one another when they went out into the greater public that didn't understand it, because they tried to spread this information and this light and this love. And there was a backlash constantly. They were met with opposing views, but they would almost reach down and hold one another's hands under these beautiful like cloaks they were wearing, and just give each other a squeeze to like be like, don't be scared, don't recoil, stay strong. That, again, so they really want me to show it's a power in numbers. It's that feeling of never being alone. And that sometimes all you need is that one other person to sort of like back you up and just be a support. And if you can find that person and they're like, okay, this won't be a surprise because this is how they talk. But Lisa and Crystal found each other, and it's like, that's how it is. It's just like, that's how they didn't talk like this. They're like, that's not how they talk, though, by the way, at all. But Mary and Maria in that lifetime had that energetic connection while they just were able to be in a space with each other. They not only supported one another, but it supported the expansion of love and compassion and understanding. It radiated from them, and it was very calming energy. It was an undeniable sense of peace that people could feel when they were in their presence. And that is something that Maria is doing in this lifetime. Just by being in someone's presence, she doesn't have to speak. She doesn't have to be the loudest one in the room. She doesn't always have to tell a story. She can sit in a space and just be, and people will look over and be like, "What's drawing me there?" Because she's not even speaking, but it's just, again, that compassion, that peace, that radiating understanding energy just comes from her. And that is because it has followed through that lifetime, through her soul into many other incarnations, but is most strongly exuding in this one.
Thanks. Can you listen and tune in really deeply and tell me what her name was in that life?
Well, now I'm kind of annoyed because they're saying it was Marilyn. And to me, that's like very much like a Mary name, but I'm hearing Marilyn, and they're saying I'm saying it wrong. They're saying it was Mary Lynn, and Marry and Lynn is how it was spent. Mary Lynn. And they're saying the Mary was the most important part of the because it was a marriage of sorts to Mother Mary. So Mary Lynn was like a marriage to Mother Mary.
Do you get a last name at all?
I'm getting Lister, Lister.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much. Andrea has a connection to Hathor. through light and sound. And she's going to Egypt next year, wonders what she can do and where she can go to further accelerate this connection for her healing modality.
She does. She does have that connection. So we want to say you do not need to pack up singing bowls and bring those there,
Mm.
but you should bring a sound instrument. So what they're showing me is tinctures. So find yourself a set of tinctures and find yourself, I haven't seen this before, but it's like a bell. It's like a bell encased in something. And oh my gosh, just a second. I can't get the name, but they're showing me that it's like some people even, like, put it in a heart, like, it could be something that fits in the size of your palm, but it's a specific, like, bell inside this that you can just, like, do this, and it has, like, a lot of, like, energy through the ringing. I'm sorry, I can't I'll see if I can get the name later. They're saying, "Look for that, bring that, and bring a pair of tinctures," and when you're in the pyramid, that it would be wonderful if you would ring those because it's not only going to activate vibrations for you, it's going to activate particles in the pyramids and activate energy for everyone there. And then in the mornings, as the sun is rising, they're showing me that if you could be outside, I don't know why I'm laughing at this because I'm just picturing this huge pyramid, I guess. And they're showing if you could walk around and like ting your tingstas, that also would be really great to awaken the energy that's outside there. And they're saying, yeah, she doesn't have to walk around the whole thing, but like whatever parts you can get to that walking in meditation and thinking of what you might want to manifest or energy that you might want to connect with, what past lifetimes you may want to feel the energy of, that as you are tinging the tinctures, to be thinking of that and that at sunset, they want you to stand in front of the entryway to a pyramid if you have the opportunity to do that and take the bells. And they're showing it would be great, almost like I think it's like Manesh in like East Indian culture, like how they hold their hands. If you could take them and do like this with the bells, and they want you to kind of go up like this, and you're almost making an arc or arch around the door with your energy, and it's a closing of the energy for the day and a thank you to everything that you've learned for the day. So those are the messages that they've given.
Okay, and why does she have such a connection with Hathor?
She has such a connection to Hathor because Hathor worked deeply with vibrational energy in Egypt. And she does have a deep connection to sound and vibration. And Hathor worked in Egypt with vibrational energy to help build the pyramids and worked with vibrational energy to try and not keep the masses calm, but keep the masses soul energy functioning at a level where they could continue to do the important work that they were doing, which was to focus their energies in order to be able to build the pyramids. And so she did have a past life as one of the workers of building the pyramids way, way back in time where Hathor was of influence. So that is a connection that's coming through deeply in this lifetime.
Hey, okay, all right. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that she needs to do while she's in Egypt that would really help her healing modality?
They're showing me that it's not so much about what to do in Egypt beyond what we just said, but what they want you to know is that you need to do more vibrational sound for yourself on a daily basis in this lifetime so that every day you should wake up with something to do with sound to clear your space, and that what they just showed, like this movement, would be really great thing to help you wind your energy down at night, to help you to sleep well, and that those are things you can do at home. And they say by starting that practice now, it's going to help you put yourself into the right vibrational state for when you visit Egypt.
Hey, thanks so much. Okay, what is causing Lee's fear of moving forward? Oh, we'll get back to Lee, but I'm just wondering about um Naledi. Her son was diagnosed as autistic, but she just doesn't feel that he is anymore. Is he? Is Naledi's son autistic?
So, what they're wanting to make very clear is that autistic, again, is almost like the idea of aliens, where it's like, you're not like me, so I'm going to prescribe a label to you. And that is what has happened to individuals whose brains don't function exactly like other people. And they're saying none of you function exactly the same, but you have a similar pattern of thinking to someone else, to someone else, to someone else. So, what do we do with all these people? We're going to call them autistic. But really, that pathway in their brain is their superpower, essentially. And what's happened to your son is that he's been able to release the characteristics that are more of a burden in preventing that superpower from coming forward. So if you again feel the need to prescribe a label, he is still autistic, but he is autistic without the burdensome things that don't allow his gift to be more freely expressed. And so that is a wonderful thing. He is in the state that we would want almost all children with autistic diagnosis to be because their brains are so special. But some of the really tough symptoms that are often associated with that label can weigh them down, and it can prevent those gifts from being expressed in a way that is most beneficial for them, for the population as a whole. But he is in the position now where he is able to do that. So it's actually a really wonderful state for him to be.
Look really deeply into him. Is there anything that would benefit him? Like, are there any foods that he's eating that is causing any symptoms? Can you look deeply into him? Is there anything that would benefit him?
So they're showing right now, like this side of his brain, this whole side of his body, and like right behind his eye here, he's going to be someone that could get almost like like a cone like migraine that's going to pierce through his eye, and it all has to do with diet and toxins. And so they're saying it's for everyone in this room, for all of you, for all of your children. Just be really careful again about what you're ingesting, and that the more toxic things you put in your body, that even if you eat a bag of chips today and you don't eat another bag of chips for 5 days, that toxic level, they're not some of these toxins you're not able to even express. And so you build and build and build and build on them. Unlike an apple, you're going to eat it today and it's going to do wonderful things for your body, but it knows how to expel itself and work out of your system as needed. It's in flow with your energy. But this is like a blast against the natural flow in your body, and there's a toxic buildup that continues to grow with these toxic foods. So they want me to say Doritos. They're like, I don't know if your study it's Doritos, but they're showing me Doritos with the orange coloring, like bad, 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 like that kind of idea. So kids love it. Kids love those things, but it's an opportunity for teaching and learning. They're saying, so you could say to your son, try to tune into yourself and tune into your energy. And how do you feel when you eat this? I'm not judging you. I'm not getting upset with you. I'm not telling you what to do. But like, just tell me when you eat this, how do you feel versus when you eat an apple? And allow them to start to have a better understanding of how their bodies work on an energetic level. And he's going to start to say, you know what, mom? I actually don't really feel as great when I eat that. Now, when I go to my buddy's house and then he's having a birthday party and there's chips out, I'm probably going to eat it because I'm in this group and that's what everyone's doing. But when I come home, I'm going to lean more into choosing those healthy fruits and vegetables and things that fuel my body, and that's the way to do it. By telling a child that you can't have this and you have to have this, there's that natural human energetic inclination to just rebel. But if you can teach them and guide them from an energy like perspective, you're setting them up for success in the future to one, be attuned to their own bodies and energy, but to also trust that energy and know that when they make those right choices, that it has a great benefit for them.
Okay, well, how can she be the best parent to this child?
We would say that is how to um, elicit more curiosity in him versus control. So again, having him be curious about the world and having his eyes open up to why would I go hug that tree? And again, it's like, well, what do you feel like when you're out in the forest? Like, again, having them feel and sense versus be told. That is really where we need the children of this world to go because they have been stripped of that opportunity to build a trusting relationship with their intuition, we have seen an emergence of helicopter parents, which are like, no, don't do this. Oh my God, no, don't do that and do this and do that. Where it's like, no, maybe make a mistake, but I'm going to be there when you make that mistake. And I'm not going to get down on you and tell you you made a mistake. I'm going to ask you what you think happened there. And again, it's really building that relationship for them to trust themselves, but know that they always, always have a safe space to fall back on, and that they can always trust you to be there to catch them when maybe they go a little bit off track.
Okay, well, just what about in the future? What is his purpose? And will he be self sufficient on his own?
He is like a light worker, but in a really cool sense. So when they were speaking about the trees and having him be in nature, what they're actually showing me for his future is like he's almost going to be like a forest man is what they're showing me, like a mountain man, but they're just like showing me that idea, like that concept of living with the land in the trees, but he's not going to be like a bum or something, like a tent, like with like a big shaggy beard. Like it's not that mountain man. It's like a regal person in the trees where people come actually for guidance, because he will have become so attuned with the energy that exists there that he is going to become a guide for other people that weren't raised that way and need to have that awaken within themselves, and they're going to gravitate to him, and he will almost do like forest walks, and he's really going to be a light worker that works with the energy of the forest and the trees to help awaken that light and that intuition in other people.
Wow, thank you so much. Okay, moving to Debbie, what is the root cause of her chronic fevers and how can she heal it?
So there is a piece to something that was shared in small group the other day that the subject is aware of, and it has to do with an event that happened with her mother and fire. Now there is a piece to this. We want to know Debbie to know that there's 2 pieces to this. So there is some trauma that still exists from this event that's coming out in that way in the fever, but it's also us on the other side. It's like, "Ooh, sorry, Debbie. I know sometimes we can be a little bit rude in the messages we're trying to get across, and sometimes we don't come about it in the nicest way, but we are literally trying to say we are lighting a fire under your butt, and we are creating this, like, sense of fire and fever in you every day, because although you're tapping into work that you know fuels your soul, you're not fully doing that yet. And we are trying to draw you more into that by lighting this fire in with what we're trying to do is light this fire inside of you. And so what we're hearing is that it may be causing some symptoms that are concerning to you, and we're hearing that, and all you have to do is say to us, dial it down. This is too much, and ask us to reduce the symptoms. But we would ask you not to ask us to completely do that, because it's our way of communicating with you. But I feel like maybe we've been too harsh or we've done it too often. So just ask us to dial it down. But we want to be able to somehow give you that nudge through that mechanism, just to remind you, like, hey, this is great. You're doing that work and that's good, but it's really not on the path of what you really want to do and what we want to help you do.
Okay, well, what is causing her neck and shoulder pain and how can she release it?
So this whole neck and shoulder pain needs to be, we're showing her that it actually is like, it's a tether. It's a tether that she has to an event that occurred in a past life, and it's like rooted so deeply there that it's like she's not letting that past life go. It's kind of having her, she wants to turn her head away from it, but it's rooted her so bad that it's like pulling, literally pulling that energy back into that past life. So what she actually had happen to her, this is unfortunate. It has to do with your mother again. Oh, okay. So in a past life, there was competitive energy between the 2 of you then as well, and you were out in nature. You thought that you were going for like just a really beautiful day to connect with your mom. And you were actually really excited because it was a little bit unusual for her to ask to spend time just with you. In that lifetime, there was always a reason that she would want to be with you. Like she was using you for this, or let's go here. And then you'd find out, oh, well, she actually needed me to do this, or she was using me as a pawn for that. So you were really excited. You're like, just me and my mom, we're gonna go out into nature and we're gonna be together. So what had happened is that you had a man come into your life that she really got her eyes set on, and she wanted to take that individual from you. And so you went on this hike in the mountains, and she literally threw you off of a cliff and pushed this boulder off that smashed right down here on your neck and your head, and it crushed you. And you never were actually found because she did it in such a remote area that the skeletal remains of your body still exist there. And so you feel like you have one, you have been grounded essentially in that place. Like there's no other word for it, like grounded with this rock. And it is just keeps pulling you back to that place. And it makes sense because you're in this lifetime with her and there's such a deep connection there. But what you need to do, they're almost showing me like strip off the suit and just like let that go, and so that is the lifetime that you've been trying to find in your sessions that you haven't been able to come across, but you can let that go. And what they're saying is that you are in complete power, that your mom has no power over you whatsoever in this lifetime, and that you need to make that sever and just essentially let that lifetime go and go and go. And that the more you do that, the more that you can understand that she can never harm you that way ever, ever again, because you are your sovereign being and you are in control, that neck pain and that ability not to even turn your head is going to go away, because what you're supposed to do is be able to look in every direction and clearly and freely embrace the power and energy of this universe. But what you're doing is you feel like you can't do that because you're almost still looking one way to keep one eye on her. Like, what is she going to come do to me? I feel like she's coming after me and she's always at my back. And so that is where this is all coming from. So release that life, release that trauma, and know that you are in control.
Thank you. Okay, moving to Lee. What is causing Lee's fear of moving forward and speaking to groups, introducing herself to groups, which is so surprising because she's so amazing.
Lee is amazing. We know she's so amazing. You all know she's so amazing.
Yeah.
And it's something that happens in the human condition that goes back to what we spoke about earlier about the fear virus. And even um the aliens like waving again, he's showing himself. He's like, yes, that's why we don't show ourselves. It's such a virus that exists amongst all of you, and it is there for a reason, because you are all so powerful, and that, if that power comes forth, it's going to be transformative to not only yourself and the world, and it should be. But part of your growth as humans is to overcome literally the hardest challenge in your universe, which is this fear. And so it's this last little step that she needs to let go of before she can fully like blast into the world. And they're literally showing me that. It's almost like they're like, don't use that word, atomic bomb. They can't stand it. Too much negativity. They're like, don't. I don't know. It's like that's like whoosh. She just comes on. It's like whoosh. Her energy's everywhere, but she just has to overcome that little last piece of fear. And that by her doing that, she's also going to be able to help others overcome their fear of not everyone has the same desire to public speak, but to connect with her and the work that she's doing and delve more into that aspect of energy and flow. And that you can share then, Lee, that you had that similar fear, not in the identical way, but how you were able to overcome it. And the way that you overcome it is recognizing that the power of your gifts is much more powerful than the fear virus. And then that fear virus needs to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink to something really, really small, so that this can continue to expand, and that it already is. This is already shrunk, but it just needs to shrink a little bit more so that you can essentially bound over top of it.
Okay, and what exactly is her purpose? Like what would benefit humanity most for her to do?
So a lot of the work that Lee is already doing within her current practice and just with people that she meets, that needs to be broadened to a group that is reachable in various parts of the planet. And that doesn't mean travel. It means by utilizing the technology that you already all have. So whether that be a Teams call or a Zoom call or a phone call, you need to expand beyond this area that you're living in and bring the gifts to the larger masses. And so putting yourself out on social media or setting up a website where people can find you, or really it's just that getting your name out there and allowing people to connect with you more frequently, more broadly than just within this little community that you're currently in.
Okay, thanks. And Stephanie's wondering is if an activation came from Enki and was the seed of light that sparked within each soul here different from the sun's codes?
So the only thing they're showing me, they're like literally, they're like sweep everything away that was said there except for the word inky. And am I hearing that word right?
Yeah, Enki.
So they're very clear that they want it to be NkeY. And the reason for this is that she's meant to write. And so they're actually showing me like an ink, like an old beautiful pen that you dip into the ink and writing ink. Or they're showing me key, like a typewriter where you're typing the keys. And they're showing the inky. That's the symbolism that they're trying to show me, that she's meant to be a writer. So things that are coming through to her are meant to be put down in word format so people can read it. And the rest of that question, they're like, sorry, so we're sweeping it away. It has no bearing to really anything that has to do with her. It's not of importance as much as we want to get that message across, that she needs to take the messages that she's having come through to her and she needs to put it down, pen to paper, and get that out.
Okay, so what advice do you want to give Stephanie then? Like how should she start and what is her purpose then in this life?
Well, they're like, Stephanie's purpose is like, it's everything she's already doing, they're saying. Like, she's already doing it, but what we want her to do is take that and put it down so people can find it in word form. And it's just like we talked about with, I can't remember. Sorry, this is how the brain works under. But like someone else, like just like stepping into it's like just like do it, because once it happens, it's going to go out to the greater masses. And right now, what's happening is that Stephanie connects with who she connects with. And that's wonderful. And all these beautiful shared connections are happening and energy is being exchanged, but it's limited. And the beautiful thing about technology, because we all know not everything with technological advances has been beneficial, but one of the things is that it spreads messages like that. Again, they're showing the wildfire that they showed the other day. It spreads so quickly. So get your information on a social media platform or on a platform like Amazon or on a website where people can access and download in PDF format your words, and that needs to get out to the greater masses.
Okay, what is the connection Stephanie's birth in Blytheville has to Arkansas?
They're showing me a very similar energy between the 2. They were trying to have me play on the word, like, like, they always try to twist words, but they're like, "Just scrap that, actually, just scrap it." What they're showing is that the energy has, like, a similarity in the grounded people, in, like, the roots of the area, and that the that energy was the same, not the crystalline energy, we're not talking that, but we're talking just about the energy of the people there. It's like good old people is kind of what they're trying to tell me, and that good old people type of energy is what the world needs more of, and that comments have been made several times about Arkansas, even happened today when the subject was out at the grocery store. You go there, you bump into someone, and instead of them being like, they're like, "Hi," or like, "Oh, sorry," or like, okay, they're like, "Okay, sorry is more Canadian," but, like, it's like they're say hi, and that energy is like her birthplace, and that is the similarity between the 2, and that it's that energy that the world needs more of, that we just need to take a pause and, like, when you bump into someone, instead of, like, looking in anger, it's actually an opportunity for a positive connection. Look up, meet each other in the eyes, give a smile, say a word, and, like, start that connection again. It's like the good old boys, the good old days, like that energy is what needs to come back again, where we see each other as human beings instead of just like something to push past or that's getting in the way or that is an annoyance. And that Stephanie has that energy from her birthplace. And that's very much Arkansas energy too.
Okay, but why has she not been drawn to live in Arkansas?
Well, she doesn't need to live anywhere specific. Stephanie is an individual whose energy is welcomed anywhere. And so she bounces around from here, she bounces around to there, and she leaves that good old day, good old energy wherever she goes, and it already exists here. And so she doesn't have to come give that energy to Arkansas because it already exists. Now, if she wants to come to Arkansas, she fits in here. She fits in here great because she has that same, old school energy, but that energy is needed elsewhere too. So she's kind of, they're showing me, welcomed wherever she goes because that's what the world needs more of.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Okay. Does Lisa need to move from Florida?
They're saying a definite yes. And they're like, because the subject knows her and knows that she likes the warm climate and all of this, they're like, don't get in the way of yourself here. Just so they're like booting me out. So, what they want to say is that your time there is coming to a close, that your energy is almost becoming stagnant there, and that you were drawn to Florida initially for all of the right reasons, and that it was like a reset for you and that your energy was increased, that the energy of Florida met you and actually amplified your energy, and that it, for the longest time, was such a well suited match, but that now the energy there is kind of getting stagnant and they're asking me to have you move on. And you're not going to love this, but they're saying the Salem, Massachusetts area is actually where you're supposed to be. And they're specifically honing in on Salem, 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 and they're saying there's already all of these like shops that like exist in Salem that try to do like the kitschy witches, kind of like money grab, have tourists like go and buy there, but they're like, you are actually of the witchy dragon energy, and that fire needs to be there because it's actually real. And that when you go there, that you're supposed to open up a store that might look like other stores that are there, but isn't like the other stores because you're actually really authentic. And when people are walking by, they're going to be drawn energetically into your place of business because they're going to feel that authenticity. And they're saying that that's a good reminder for this group that people can feel when you're stepping into your truth. And when you're trying to say, look at that cool thing that that person does. And I wish I had that gift. I'm going to try to do that, but it actually doesn't really resonate with me. And you down or belittle your gift, people know that. And what they want is for you to show them your gifts, and they are going to come and find you because then you are standing in your truth. And what you need to do, Lisa, is go there because your energy is now supposed to be back in that area and really add the authenticity to that specific place on earth.
Okay. What specific job should she do? Like a business? What modality?
She knows, she already knows what's going to be said. She is supposed to open up a little store, like one that she visited in Hawaii, but it's going to look different. It's going to have some of the same things, but they're almost showing me this is so cute that you're almost supposed to build something that looks like a little witch's pumpkin or witch's shoe. Like it has a very sort of cartoonish shape to it. It's black on the outside and it's like it's very supposed to look super kitschy, but inside it's so authentic. And you're going to have readings. It's going to be a place where people that you've met here would be welcomed with open arms to come, and you can have like they're showing me almost like how there used to be places back in the day where you would have like a artist or an author in residence, that you'll have like energy workers in residence, and it's like Stephanie's here this week or Lee's here this week, and you have a schedule of like people in residence. And so you're going to have this cute little tiny studio above where these people in residence can stay, and people will be able to come and connect with them, whoever's there, and that it's not going to be competitive for you. It's like a welcome space for them to share their gifts with each other. And it's not going to be like, oh my God, you're in my space. So I'm going to control this and you're going to give me exactly this. It's like, we are going to do this together. We're going to share this energy and bring it to the people that come in. You're going to source very specific, beautiful, gorgeous jewelry because you are very good at that. And you're going to be able to guide people to jewelry that speaks to them. You're going to have beautiful artists who actually create gorgeous, gorgeous artwork that really has a nod to that area, and it pays homage to all of the tragedy that occurred there, but in a beautiful way that says, like, take this art home with you and remember what happened here, but remember it as something that we don't want to do again, but also thank it as a gift to the learning that occurred here on this earth and to the individuals that gave their lives so that we could learn that we should never allow this to happen again. So you'll have artist paintings, you're going to have just like readers, and they're saying that you should be doing some readings too, that you have gifts that are coming to you. So you could be one of the people in resident that day where you're giving readings, and it's really all that. It's this very creative space, and that's really what you're supposed to work on.
Okay, how can she make money and fund this?
They're showing me that movie called Field of Dreams, like, build it and they will come, and they're saying that you should put a call out, almost like, those platforms with they're like, "I have an invention, and if you invest in me, like, I'll give you something once it gets up and running." I don't know the name, but, like, it's that idea. You could put, like, a call out and saying, like, "I'm looking to start this, and if you have a gift or you have an interest, you can come stay in this place for, like, 2 weeks as, like, one of the residents, and its accommodations are 100% free, and they will, like, donate money essentially to help you." Oh, it's like Kickstarter or something. Like that idea to kickstart the funding for this business, but that eventually it's going to be so successful that it's going to self-support itself. But to get it started, that would be a really positive way of doing it, is like saying, how do you want to support me, and this is how, and you can come here, and this is what I can give back to you.
Well, she was curious also about traveling. If she's a grid worker, should she be traveling? And how can she fund that?
They're saying that the travel is going to come because she's going to source things for the store,
Mm.
but that she's not supposed to just travel around for leisure anymore. That there will be a leisure because she gets enjoyment of wherever she goes, but that's not where the travel is going to be. It's going to be more sourcing things for the specific place, and that's where the travel will come in. But the grid work, they're showing me the grid is telling her this is where you go.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Rebecca is wondering, are using the words, like RE words, not helpful, like releasing. Does that mean Rebecca needs to change her name?
No. No. And so, okay, they want to make something very clear that all words have vibration, and they have vibration from the intention that we have given to them. So if we look back into times where there was slavery and we look at African Americans and Negroes, we won't say the N word, but that was a word that could have been exchanged and had a positive vibration, but it doesn't now because that is what we have given to it. And so, really, it's our intention and the vibration that we associate it with, or that the energy of the world has associated with it. Her name is a beautiful word, and no one thinks when it says Rebecca that it's a reuse of something. But when we say release, rename, that there is some connotation that is coming into that because of the recycle, reuse. But really, you can intention set to change the vibration of any word. It's like the idea of changing the vibration and the properties of water that you all just discussed a couple days ago. You can do that with your words. And so it's setting at the beginning of your day an intention to say, this is my intention when I speak, and this is the vibration that I want the choices that I choose for my words to hold. And then it's like a blanket, a sweeping statement that you put over everything. And so there's no need to worry that you can do that, but that be intentional when you're out in the world, because there there is a vibration that certain words carry, and release isn't one that's well known yet. You don't have to worry about that, but, like, some of the words that we just, sort of, we're speaking to, leaning into there, they hold such a strong word. So even if you wake up in the morning and say, "My intention when I speak it is that it's gonna hold this vibration," if you go to Compton and you go shouting out that word, not gonna go over well just because you place that intention. You still have to recognize that the words have a vibration that has been carried for such a long time, that that energy still is going to be there even if you're not meaning it to. So that's a lot of information. Does that make sense?
What advice would you like to give Rebecca right now? Like, what would benefit her most to know?
Okay, there's like a massive, massive ringing that's starting in both of my ears. So just let me figure out what they're trying to tell me here. Oh, it's like so irritating. I don't know exactly what they're trying to tell me, but there's something to do here with the way that she's connecting with, there's messages essentially that are coming through to her, and that they're saying, yeah, call us that again. Sure, call us extraterrestrials. Essentially, that's who's trying to communicate with Rebecca, and they're doing it through two ways. They're showing me that they're star people that are putting messages in her eyes. We talked about that a few days ago, the activations that exist within her eyes. And so there's messages that are coming from star people. They're like making little stars again in her eyes. So coding messages there so that people that look in her eyes are getting those activations, but they're also bringing telepathic messages and communications to her, and that often she'll hear like a ringing in her ears. And now that I'm getting the message, it's already dissipating. But if you get a really, really strong ringing in your ears, Rebecca, that is them trying to drive certain messages home, or say you're in the kitchen cooking supper for your family and you're like focused on them and they're like, hey, we have something for you. And that ringing is them trying to get your attention. And so you're being communicated with to try to give you information that will be beneficial to the human race as a whole, and that you really are a conduit to sharing messages from those ETs or like other people. And so just continue to be open to that, that when you sleep, they're communicating with you then, and just knowing that when you wake up, that to quickly write down what you have on your mind, because those messages will have come through while you slept, and that they're not to be hoarded and just like kept to yourself, what you very much already seem to be aware of, that they're to be shared and given and yeah, shared with the universe. And again, they're saying you have this technology at your fingertips to do this. So again, social media, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Thank you. Becca's wondering, can we rejuvenate our bodies in this lifetime? If so, how specifically?
100%. And we know that Sarah's going to want to say, but how? No, but really, but exactly how? And so we're going to try to do our best, because we know every person in this room wants to know. We understand the human, again, it's that human bodysuit that you all wear that you want to have look a certain way. We understand. But what we want to say is like the most important thing is that you want to rejuvenate the inside first, that your organs, you can rejuvenate those. It starts to show up on the exterior. And so oftentimes these questions come in because you want to look younger. But what you really need to focus in on is rejuvenating and regenerating all the damage that has been done to your internal organ systems. And that goes for everyone here, because, again, it's the toxins that are in the air and in the foods that you eat. And so dialing in through your mind's eye and setting an intention to have your organs regenerate. So look at your liver and say, oh my God, like I drank a bottle of wine last night and that wasn't meant to like hurt and harm you, but I know that it could have. And so I want you to feel the love. We talked about heart chakras in your hands. I want you to feel the love like radiating from the palms of my hands as I lay them over you, liver. And I want to say that I am thankful for all the hard work that you had to do the other day, because I know I made things a little harder on you. I know the pizza that I ate made my gallbladder work a little harder, and give thanks. And by giving thanks, again, it's like the trees that we just talked to. It's like she actually knows that I exist and that I'm actually in here doing something for her. And just them being recognized, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like they wake up and they're like, it gives them a little boost of energy to work harder for you and clear all that stuff that needs to be cleared out. And as you do that and you get more and more in tune, don't just give thanks. Then in your mind's eye, actually say, okay, we're going to work on you. And I'm actually going to see you in my mind's eye regenerating. And the more that you regenerate your internal organs, the natural regeneration of your skin and your collagen and your hair and the life in your eyes and your nails, all of that stuff is going to start to improve, but it starts inside.
Okay, well, will we have access to like med beds or technology that's extraterrestrial that could heal us and make us like rejuvenate?
So they're saying, oh, it's like, of course, one's like, this is what's happening. So one one of the aliens looking looking at his friend is like, of course, of course. It's like, yeah, there's such a sassy one. I'm like pointing, I'm like, he is so sassy. But what he's like basically saying is, of course, they want the easy way out. And so, can we give you that technology? Of course we can. But then again, you bypass the learning. You're not learning anything. If we just give this to you and you can start regenerating, then you've lost the lesson. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go out and drink a case of beer tonight because I can go lay in this bed tomorrow. It's like
Mhm.
that is the opposite of what we want you to do. We want you to stop poisoning yourselves. We want you to stop poisoning yourselves because the poison dims your light. And that is the purpose behind the toxins in your system is that it poisons you to the point that your gifts aren't being spread because you don't have the energy to do so. So we want you to learn how to tune into yourself and regenerate yourself because the more connection you have to your internal organ system, the more appreciation you have for it, the less damage you're going to want to do to it. The less damage you do to it, the less dim you are and the more light you can exude. And so we want you to get there first. And then are we happy to share that tech with you? 100%. But we just think that you need, as humans, to start looking inwards first for those solutions versus outwards, or else you're just never going to learn.
Okay, but isn't that technology already available?
Yes, it's already available. Yes, the rich people already have it. And why do they have it? It's not in a nice way. You need to know what they do to get this. They do horrible things to access the information that allows them to get that technology. So they're using a technology that came from torture, abuse. They abuse people that have been holding on to secrets for a really long time or that are able to access those of us in these higher realms that have that information, they torture them. They torture and abuse them to get that information. So that energy that they have is, yes, it's going to heal the external body and they're going to look younger and you're all going to want to look that way. But just know that as they're using that technology, the evilness of the way that they got it is also being infused in them. And the darkness is just growing inside them. And so pretty soon you're going to be able to look at people that look like porcelain dolls, but you're going to know that they are old and gross and icky inside. And you're not going to want to look that way. And who you're really going to want to look like is the hippie here in the room who's done that internal work and is glowing from the inside out. That's going to be the real beauty.
Okay, but on the market right now, are there any energy devices or any type of device
Sarah, we knew.
that works?
Yes. One energy device that we would be happy to share with you that didn't come from really terrible lineage would be red light therapy. So if you see there's masks out there now where you can just put like a funny looking mask on your face and sit there with red light. Red light can be also got by like sitting in certain saunas that have the red light therapy. That allows your cellular activation to occur, toxins to be released, and you're working internally as well as on that external. So that's one that we are happy to say would be safe and that would be good for you to access.
Okay, is there any type of thing like a laser or like Botox or something that actually works to make you look younger? Like,
Well, it makes you look younger, but again, the idea of Botox, you're literally adding more toxin. You guys, toxin, Botox, toxin. Where do you think this goes? Your poor bodies. You're like, I want to look a certain way, so I'm going to put a toxin in my face. And do you look younger? Yes, you're frozen. You look younger. But where do you think that goes? The toxins go in your body and it builds and builds and builds. It's not a miracle. It doesn't just come out of your body as it starts to come out of your face and just like leak out of your system. No, it goes into your liver and it sits there. And the more you do the Botox, the more it sits and sits and builds and builds and builds. And now your liver can't process the Doritos that you ate last night because your Botox is sitting there. So, yes, you can use it, but you just have to recognize what you're doing. So, it's like, how badly do I want to look young? Because pretty soon I'm going to be so internally old that I am no longer going to be able to function well because I'm going to be so sick. So again, look inside and you have the tools. You are all doing this beautiful energy work. Look inside. Harness your gifts, spread the light. Look at Sarah. Do you not know she kind of looks younger for her age than maybe some other people? It's because she's sharing her gift and spreading the light. She's bringing that from the inside and spreading it out. And so tap into that gift. Tap into your own body. Scan your body. Give it nourishing foods. We really are going to just like start to skip these questions in the next few because the answer is that. The answer really is that. So,
Well, kids say I look very old, but anyway. Um,
kids.
all right. Well, do you have any advice for Becca? Like, what is her purpose in this life?
So they're actually showing me that there's like a show called I think it's like The Real Housewives of like Utah. Does that sound like a show?
Yeah.
They're showing me that she's gonna be like a Real Housewife of Utah. So she's gonna meet like a guy, but it's gonna be a twist because she's going to be the housewife that has this work going on. She is gonna be doing the shift. And so instead of buying like a Prada purse or like going out and drinking like a ton of champagne with these women, she's going to be on the show and being like, oh, like today I'm waking up, I'm doing a sound bath. Today I'm going to bed with my infrared mask on. Today I'm drinking my green juice. Today I'm traveling somewhere to do a workshop with people. We're like dialing into Arkansas energy. What we're showing the subject is that you're actually going to be in the spotlight in a great way because you're going to meet a great man and you're going to be able to share this energy platform in a way where it's not usually shown. Usually, the housewife network is all about consumption of goods and like adding more toxins to your body and adding more problematic things to the earth. But you're going to be what the shift needs to be in that area, which is a change in what's actually important and where value needs to be placed. And you're going to be like a spark within that whole empire for change. And it's sort of starting. There's a few people in the empire that have started to recognize how toxic it's become and are slowly making changes, but they need a new voice and a fresh face. And they're showing that you're actually going to be one of them.
Okay. So, how does she get started?
They say the biggest thing right now is to not just focus on what was just said and be like, "Where is he? And when is it gonna happen?" It needs to be, "I'm gonna do all this work right now internally. I'm gonna share my gifts, that I'm growing." And it's through those connections, like they're showing like a spider web of like connections. It's that as you start to spread these gifts here and here and here, the channel is gonna be made to get you to the person and then to the network, and so it's just essentially continuing to build on what you have been doing this weekend and what you've already been doing in your personal life and delving deeper into that connection with yourself and really building that bond again with your soul so that it's in essence your soul becoming a beacon for this shift to occur because it can't help but be seen. So just do the work you are and continue to build upon it.
Okay. Thanks so much. What about Lord S? What is her purpose in this lifetime?
So Lourdes actually is the biggest, the most amazing legacy that she's going to leave behind has to do with her stepdaughter. And this woman is going to, at one point in her life, literally, I'm being shown her on her knees, like bowing down to Lourdes. And like, I'm just getting so emotional because I can just feel the love she has for her. She's just saying, like, "Thank you," and essentially, like, she's showing, like, Lourdes with this, like, beautiful crown on her head, and that she's, like, the queen of this woman's life, and that she is going to recognize that she wouldn't be anywhere that she is going to be without Lourdes, and that she is going to be somewhere huge. This girl is going places, and she's going places because she has the support of Lourdes, and that's gonna be the biggest legacy that she can leave behind because this young lady is going to have a wide-reaching influence over humanity, and she's going to be such a light spreader and gift giver, but she is acutely aware that the only reason that she was able to or will be able to really tap into those gifts is because Lourdes was there and supported her in a time where almost no one else would have, and that even though things may seem like challenging now and that there's struggles going on now, that underneath that soul is acutely aware of that connection to Lourdes and is thanking her for not giving up and for embracing and taking her in, and that is going to pay off exponentially. And they're also showing me like Lourdes in retirement, like she's going to be well taken care of, and she's going to be like sitting back in a rocking chair just surrounded by so much love, and that all that she's giving now is going to be returned to her exponentially.
Wow, what advice do you want to give her for now? Knowing all this, what could she do right now?
She could just remind herself in the most trying times when a teenager spews the most vitriol, horrible things your way, and snubs you, that it is nothing to do with you, that she is breaking generational trauma that has happened for her, and that she just needs you to continue to support her in that journey, and that your soul is going to feel like, ouch. It's like, ooh, ouch, like constant little ouchies, but just to not let it turn you away from her, to allow yourself to continue to come back, and it doesn't have to be like you're constantly in her face, but just being that gentle presence that is always there, that she knows is never going to leave, no matter how crazy and how angry and how, like, whatever she terrible she can be, that you're not going anywhere, and just stay in that space and remind yourself that when she's hurting and sending hurtful things your way, that it's not her soul sees your soul, and you guys are loving and so connected that that's the human experience, and that your reaction to that is also your human experience. So just not to let your human experience break you away from each other, because it's your connectiveness that's going to allow her to propel into this beautiful, beautiful future that we see for her.
Thank you. What about Pat? What advice do you want to give Pat?
So they're showing me that Pat needs to pat herself on the back a lot more. That Pat is kind of in the world, living, doing. Almost are saying the word like, it's not 100% accurate, like, but like she needs to find ways to recognize her value more than just like being here. Like she's kind of like going through her days, like not trudging along, but she's just like going through them, and she's doing for others. She thinks that she's doing for herself, but she's not. She's not giving herself a pat on the back. That has been through a lot, just like so many of you in this room has. And she needs to say, like, whoa, girl, look at from where you came from and all of the things you've done. She needs to give herself a pat on the back. And essentially, the more that she dials in again to herself and gives herself and her soul the recognition that it deserves, she'll start blossoming again. So she almost feels like a little bit weighed down by life. And we've talked about the other day, like this chronic cough, and there's just some things that are being sort of like held back. It needs to be released. And when we talk about looking younger, they're saying you should come back in a year. And if she keeps patting herself on the back, Miss Pat over there, they're saying, actually, Miss Patricia, you're going to look a lot different. You want to talk about that glow up, that if you start seeing yourself through the eyes again of others, like who've seen and met you this weekend, and look at yourself in the mirror and see that in your own eyes every day, that you are going to feel revitalized, re energized, and you are going to start to feel younger and more vibrant, and that you really just do need to say, I've been through a lot. I'm still here. I have more to do and more ways to grow, but you're only going to grow into that space when you take the moment to pause and reflect on how far you've already come and give appreciation and gratitude for that journey.
Okay, so specifically, what exactly does she need to do every day, like, in order to really give herself a pat on the back? Like, I know you just said those things, but what advice do you wanna give her, like, specifically for how to do this?
Oh my gosh. Have you guys ever seen that skit with Saturday Night Live? I think the person's name is like Pat. And they're like, they never knew if a Pat was like a man or a woman, but he was like, I am a good person. Know what I'm saying? They're literally telling me that. What is it called?
Yeah, but it was like, I know what you're talking about. It's like deep no,
Deep, deep
yeah,
thoughts. It's like, it's this. It's like,
I
I
know
think the
exactly what
person's
it is,
name was
yeah.
Pat because this is what they're showing me. And they're like, we actually literally want Pat to do that. So they're like, pull up the old skit and they're like, and it might seem really funny and it's going to seem really weird when you do it at first, but they're like, want her to get, they're like, not just a mirror where you stand up at the bathroom sink. They want her to get a long, full length mirror and take a chair and set that in front of the chair. And she's going to look at herself and say, my name's Pat. I'm a good person. These are the gifts that I have. These are the things that I've done. And they literally want you to say, and I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. And they want you to do that every single day. And they say that the more that you do it, the less it's going to seem cheesy and the more it's going to seem like, Pat, hey, here you are. Like, I'm amazing. And this is what I've done. It's going to be like, you're going to be like so excited for that time in front of the mirror because you are going to see yourself exactly how you really are internally. And it's going to be this like joyful experience instead of this awkward, weird experience, which is going to feel like at first. Then you're going to really look forward to that opportunity. And it's almost like the mirror is going to be talking back to you. It's like you're going to sit in front of it and you're almost eventually not going to have to say a word. It's going to be like a telepathic communication between you and the mirror is going to be like, yeah, look it, you're awesome. I know I'm awesome. Oh my God, you're this and that. I know I'm this. And you're not even gonna have to speak anymore. You're just gonna see yourself for what you are. But at first, you need to remind yourself of what you are. And that's where that exercise comes in.
Thank you. Okay, what advice do you want to give Crystal? I know her property just sold, but yesterday she felt sick and she threw up. Is there anything that you want to tell her?
Yeah, she's like literally making herself sick. So she lives a lot in her mind and she continues to ruminate things over and over and over and over. And she dials into us and we'll tell her the answer. And if she likes it or doesn't like it, it doesn't matter. She's going to ask the question in the same day 100 more times just to see, is that answer still going to be the same? And sometimes we just change it for fun. We're like, no, now it's going to be a no. And she's like, I knew it. And it's like, okay, well, 75 times today it was yes, but we're just going to say that to you to try to break that in your head. And what we want to say to her is that she needs to break it. Ask it once. You know the answer. Dial in. You feel the answer. Don't get in your brain so much and live in there because it takes away from your opportunity to live out here. And when you live in your head, you're not giving gifts to anybody else. All you're doing is maybe giving a gift to yourself, but you're really not because you ruminate too much and you actually make yourself sometimes physically ill. Even if the information that comes through is good, if you think about it too much and analyze it too much, it actually makes you feel sick because you're putting energy internally without letting it flow out. That information isn't meant to be stored up here, it's meant to be expressed. So when we talk about social media and all this stuff, if you go and follow her on Instagram, it's like, "Wah, wah, wah. Oh my God, someone cheated on me." And I know this sounds so mean, the voice that we're using, but we want to like almost like just tell like it's enough. Like you have put that out there and we understand because you literally are grieving and moving through the emotions, but it's time to share with the world who you really are. And on your wellness page, you need to let people know how well you are and how much wellness you can spread. And what you've done right now is deeply connected with other individuals whose hearts are also hurting because they've been through similar circumstances as you. And that is a good thing and that's helpful. But there is a point where you need to give people tools to move on from that betrayal and that grief and that sense of sadness. And you've been connecting with people who have been in that shared space and there is like misery loves company kind of idea. And so you've done that, but now you need to share with people the tools to move past that. And that's where you really are supposed to do before you got with Drew. And we love the saying, Drew who, because that is what it should be. Like, Drew who? Like, let it go. Now we want the world to see who you are and what your gifts are. And you've shared that this week. And well, now they're going to make me cry because they're just saying that I have to see myself just like they said to you with eyes that you have all seen me. And that I woke up for a lot of years with someone who didn't see me at all or only passed along hateful things that they were seeing in themselves and projected onto me, and that I allowed that to be the way that I saw myself, and that just seeing the way that you actually see me is who I am, and that that gift needs to be brought out to the masses, and that I'm here to be like a light spreader, and it has been dimmed and my light has been dim, but it is essentially time to shine. But I'm only going to be able to shine if I stop holding these cyclical patterns in my head and let that energy go and let the energy, the goodness flow out.
Okay, well, you said that she should start sharing tools. Well, can you give her a tool like to move past it?
Like, Pat's not the only one that needs to pat herself on the back, so it's not to the same level, but she's actually afraid to see into her own soul because she's been so scared of what's in there because someone has
Mm.
made her feel so small. And so she needs to look in the mirror and not be afraid of the reflection and actually look in her eyes and be reminded of the power that's there. And again, just try to say, like, when she looks into the mirror, what is it that everybody else saw? And she's gonna see it and just be reminded of that, and that there it is, and there it's always been. And she used to be this just like light-filled being that, like, no matter where she went in the world, people were just like, "Oh my gosh." She'd walk into a room and heads would turn, and it wasn't like, "Oh my god, she was the prettiest girl in the room." It was like, "Holy cow, there's like this magical light around her." And she needs to tap into that again, because that's
Mm.
all she's really here to do. It's not like she has to do these grandiose, huge things besides walking into a room and letting people feel and see that light. And her light has been dimmed so much. And she just needs to find it again and essentially put it out there. And then she needs to remind other people who've been through tragic events, not just betrayal or cheating, any sort of trauma, how to find that light within themselves again and spread that outward.
Thank you so much. Can you heal the whole room, like all of us? Can you just heal us, all our ailments right now? Because we agree we're fine with that. I'm sorry. That is the very root cause of Crystal's right shoulder issue.
So there was such a heaviness. She was like incredibly unbalanced because she was having to do dual energy roles in her household. She had to be masculine and she had to be feminine. And it really imbalanced her. And so there was so much pressure of that, like weighing down this side, which really should be more of the like ability to release that divine feminine power. But because there was such an imbalance with this man who actually should have been masculine and leaning into that in their relationship. She actually found him to have a lot more feminine characteristics, like a lot of like just not stepping at all into his divine masculine. And it ended up putting such a heavy burden on her to have to carry so much of that weight that his lack of proper energy just pushed the shoulder down, and that she is releasing him and she can release all of that and allow herself to be more balanced. And that's going to allow this to come back into the balance that it should. So let's leave that and let's go back to all of you. We are going to work with you to heal the things that don't need to stay with you to teach you a lesson. And we can lessen the lessons that need to be taught by making those ailments lighter and less in severity. And so we will do that. We will heal all of the things that have no bearing on a lesson that you need to be taught. We will, as you all sleep tonight, be working with you, and the aliens are back and they're like, and so are we. And so they weren't just like, they're like, we weren't just in the rooms last night staring at you. They're like, we were actually transferring energy because again you're open right now and your energy is flowing so beautifully that they were connecting. It's like again they're showing the connection with the trees. They're like you are helping to awaken us and make us feel more comfortable with the concept of integrating with you more and showing ourselves more, and we are sharing our energy that you may not be as familiar with, but again you are because our soul energy is the same. So they're showing like an electrical arc of energy from their heart center flowing to our heart centers while we sleep. And that's what they were doing when they were in our rooms the last few nights. So they're back and they're going to be doing that tonight. And then we, on the other side, we will continue to work with you and heal your bodies too. But again, if there's something that has to remain for a lesson for you to overcome, it's going to stay, but we can reduce the severity of it for you.
Okay, I've heard that extraterrestrials can have healed people many times. So, is there anything we need to do like tonight to make sure we get healed?
Like, now they're actually showing me Maria and Mother Mary, like an image of them, and they're like showing like how they would have like had someone talking to them who's like not getting the message. And under the cloak, they're like squeezing each other's hands, and they're like literally this is what's happening. They're like holding each other, like, oh, you don't have to ask again. We heard you. We are going to help you. And if you're meant to be totally healed, we will totally heal you. 100% we have worked with humans to completely heal them. If you wake up and you feel like you haven't been healed yet, just give it a few days because your bodies do need the opportunity to release. So, just like we spoke of the other day, where there's so much energy here that some of your bodies couldn't handle it, it's actually one of the reasons. There's like a few reasons that Crystal got sick is because she had too much energy going through that her body wasn't really acclimated to handle that much. And also because she is purging some energy that's no longer serving her, but you do need to allow your bodies to acclimate to this energy transformation. So, what we'll do is almost what she did the other day with the Reiki. We will try to do a smoothing of the energy while we do our work on you so your bodies can handle the transformation a bit more. But if you wake up and you feel like, wait a second, I don't feel great, or this hasn't quite worked yet, give it a few days. And as you sleep and before you go to bed, just set the intention to say, again, speak to your body and let them know that this energy that's coming through is for your greatest good and that you are open to it and allowing that healing to occur. And then if it's been a week or so and there's something that we haven't reduced to the level that you hope to, it probably is there because it's a lesson. But again, ask us to reduce in severity and we will come back and we will come back and say, okay, we thought that we reduced it enough, but if it's still bothering you this much, yeah, we're going to work on you again and we're going to bring it down a few more notches. So that would be the path forward.
Thank you so very much. I know, we've gone over time, but can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Okay, this is my question. Well, sorry, it's a little meh, but
They like the humor. They like the humor.
is there a potential? All right, and I know you don't just answer shortly because I do want to bring Crystal out, but is there a potential Project Bluebeam holographic thing that I need to look into?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. And you've been questioning whether you should share that information or not share. And that is information that should be shared. And you are onto something as you always are. We are able to plant the seeds. You follow the crumbs. You have been following this. You've been getting like, oh, I hear it here. I hear about it here. You follow the breadcrumbs. And we are here to tell you that you are on the trail like a hound, that the scent has been found, and that now you need to share that information more broadly so that people can be aware.
Thanks. Can you clear everybody's energy and clear Crystal's energy so that everybody can allow the healing frequencies? Can you do that? I'll be quiet and you just cleanse all of us and Crystal of all this energy so that we can, especially Crystal, can feel more grounded.
We are going to do a smoothing of all the energy in the room, but we want you to know that the energy today is already completely different than the energy the other day. And Crystal could probably talk for another 3 hours today just because of the grounding, just because of the grounding that you did with the cacao ceremony first. and then putting her in the triangle of protection and having everyone that we did, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to take some credit to the grounding that we all did with you before to really pull that energy deep, deep, deep down. That we have been holding that space for you this entire time and keeping your energy more grounded. And so the energy just feels very different than it did before. And so it's a great reminder to yourself because you're so energetically attuned this group to give yourself that opportunity every day to be grounded with Mother Earth. That grounding yourself doesn't mean that you're going to have less energy to give. It just means that the energy that's coming through you has the ability to go where it should and transfer back to the earth and cycle over as it needs instead of being like bing, 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 bing. It's more centered. And so we are going to just ask you to all close your eyes for one moment. And we want to know, or we want you to know that right now, there's always a question: who is speaking to us? Who is it? And there's things like I know. And what we're saying right now is that there is a council of us, and there always is. So there are many, many councils that have coalesced their energy today, again, because they were so incredibly attracted to all of your energy and the diversity that exists in this room and the gifts that you all have. And they are saying that it's like the closing of a conference, and that the head table essentially is standing up, this incredible galactic star people, UFO people. It's this whole head table standing up, and they're patting you on the back. They're saying that again and clapping their hands. And they want you in your mind's eye to pat yourselves on the back, to feel that connection to Mother Earth, to reach out right now if you have someone sitting beside you or on either side of you and hold hands with that person. And they're saying, Crystal can reach up. Where's Sarah? And they want you to feel the connection of the chakras that are in each of the palms of the hands. And that right now you are transferring that love and that connection to one each other. It's like an electrical, again, arc that you were talking about earlier. We want you to feel the energetic impulses transferring between the heart chakras in both of your palms, and allow that to transfer around this entire circle of magical beings. And thank yourselves again for coming to this workshop, for coming to what someone people call Arkansas. No, you guys came and you have created a new Arkansas. Thank you for coming. Thank you for allowing us to be here with you. And we ask that you continue to spread your gifts and share your magic with the world and share your magic with each other. And we want you to squeeze one another's hands as a thank you to each other. And we ask you now to bring your hands together in front of you, like you would do at the end of a yoga class, and allow yourself to take a deep breath. Bring those hands down to your belly button. Breathe out and allow your hands to open so the palms are facing upwards. And what you're doing there again is allowing the love and the heart chakras that are in your hands to divinely go upwards and connect with the pyramid energy that is floating up to the sky. It's connecting to source, and it's rebounding now, and it's circling all of you. And this is how we are grounding and protecting you and closing out the circle, is to have you all in this loving protective circle, and you will carry that energy forth. And all you have to do to feel it again is to open up your palms and hold them like this and feel that energy. And then you can grab it and close it and make a fist and hold it and just feel that love and that energy there, and remind yourself that it is always there, but that you also have to open that up and share those gifts with the world. And again, we thank you for allowing us to see those gifts shared this weekend and for creating that space for yourself to give yourself that opportunity. And we hope to be able to connect with you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Now I'd like to ask the higher